Hello there, welcome to the QNB Stars League preview show here in Alcastre as we look ahead to all 6 matches in week 22, the final weekend of the 2017-18 season, in the company of former English Premier League players Nick Somerby and Chris Makin. Only one more position to sort out, and that is who will finish 4th. Will it be Salal or Al Gharafa? It's a very important position indeed, Chris Makin.
It's a massive game for both sides, really, because the winner, whoever gets 4th spot, goes through to the semi-finals of the Qatar Cup. Word of warning, though, when you go through to that semi-final, you do get to play Al Gharafa. So there's pros and
something to look forward to. But for the other teams who are not in the top 4, OK, forget the Qatar Cup, but you've got the Emir Cup, and there's a lot of teams there that be looking to make a charge in that one, Nick.
I would be looking at Al Arabi, probably Qatar Sports Club, since the manager's come in there. It just doesn't get any bigger. You know, we were lucky enough to be in the Khalifa Stadium last season, 40-odd thousand. That's what I'd be looking at, me. I'd be trying my hardest to get into that there, because it just puts the old cherry on the top of the cake, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And here we are then, the final weekend. How do they line up, and what are the league standings going into week 22? Here's Shadin Watan.
Thanks, Rodri. Going into the final week, Al Dahel are already champions, Al Sadd will finish 2nd, and Al Rayyan will finish 3rd. The only question mark is who will make up the top 4, with Al Gharafa and Salal neck and neck on 32 points, with all to play for in the final match. Nothing drastic can happen in the bottom half, with Al Markhia already down and Al Khretiyat destined for a playoff match against Al Wakra on the 14th of April. As for the fixtures, on Saturday the 7th of April, Al Sadd faced Al Khretiyat at 18:15, the same time Al Dahel faced Al Saliya. On Sunday the 8th of April, Al Rayyan meet Al Ahli, Al Khor meet Al Arabi, Salal meets Al Markhia, and Al Gharafa meet Qatar Sports Club, all at 18:15 Doha time.
Thank you very much indeed, Shadin. Right, first up, it's Al Sadd versus Al Khretiyat. OK, so Al Sadd finished 2nd again, Chris Makin. Is this not good? But there is still a bit more in the tank for them, maybe, and we could see them picking up a trophy.
Well, they've got a great record in the Emir Cup in recent years. I look back over the season, and for me, they came within 10 minutes of winning the league. The game against Al Dahel, they had the lead there going into the last 10 minutes. It's just fine margins between Al Sadd and Al Dahel at the moment. Al Dahel have come out on top, but Al Sadd were just nearly there, weren't they?
Would you think? Yeah, but do you think it's that good them getting a centre forward in the summer? Because that was the problem. Bunge not playing
last summer.
Yeah, last summer. This summer,
Massive.
at least address that.
What about the frustration for the head coach as well, of Ferreira? He's a born winner. He comes to win. Gets another 2nd spot. That's not him, is it?
Yeah, but you're up against the De Gea, which is the pair of them have been fantastic, and it goes down to that one game. What was it last year against? Was it against Wacker, against Salal? You can see they're just won games. That's all they are. But I'm just trying to find a little point there. Is obviously just having Bunge injured for most of the season. Is that the only problem if they get back up? That is all it is. You know.
All right. Well, let's hear from Al Sadd head coach now, Jesualdo Ferreira.
Disappointed with this result, I said since the first day. I never play for 2nd place. Not my idea in this one. But sometimes it's important that you can recognize when our opponent is better than us, and it was better than us, and the games between us, the derbies. On the Clásico, they were better. I think that in the last one, it was not better than us, but they win. So I'm disappointed. It's true that you are 2nd, like we were made last year, and last year with 2 points till the end of the Liga. But you have reasons for understand many things, but it's our reason, it's personal reasons. Now you have more challenge for us. Where a lot of things that you can achieve for ours. You must reach this one also.
Yes, they do have another challenge. It's the Qatar Cup and Emir Cup now for Al Sadd. Nice to hear him tipping his hat there and saying, well done, Al Duhail, they were just better than us, which is exactly what you were saying. So it's Gesualdo acknowledging that. Now, look, Nick, they're up against Al Kharatiat. Let's remind ourselves of the goals Al Kharatiat scored in week 21. It seems a long time ago now, next 3 weeks, but this was a massive victory for them against Qatar Sports Club, which gave them this lifeline. So they've got a playoff coming up on the 14th of April against Al Wakra. This game for them will be important to help build momentum now for that game.
I'll tell you what, that'll give you confidence there, the goal by Tibukanim. They needed a big performance. And I think before the game here now, would they have taken that spot second from bottom, and they would have. It gives them a chance against what you think would be a weakened side with Wakra, because it's not as competitive in their league. And this, I know they left it late last season. You know, they finished wonderfully, about 6 games unbeaten. But all of a sudden now, this has given them the confidence. This performance against a really tough side as well, though. So they'll be full of confidence, they will. I think they'll rest a few players in this game. I don't think this is going to be a competitive game by both sides.
Did you do that?
Yeah, no, well, I spoke to the manager anyway. I said, yeah, he's going to do that, because a few of the players there are on yellow cards. So if they get another yellow card, they're in trouble. So he's going to rest a lot there. I think they're just thinking about that game.
That's a difficult situation indeed. Let's hear from their head coach now.
We training, we focusing all this match. We know this match very, very important for us. We respect Al Wakra, but I think the Kharatiat better now. Because he play with the Liga team, but this match very, very difficult. We respect Wakra. We play for win, for stay in the QMB.
It's a big game indeed. We know some people as part of that setup who work on the analysis team without naming anybody. You know, there's some nerves there for Al Kharatiat. They want to stay in the QMB Stars League.
They've got to look back to last season when who went into the playoff last year? Qatar Sports Club won it against
Al
Shahaniya.
Yeah,
Al Shahaniya were obviously the favourites and got beat, so they can't take it lightly. Now the gamble is this weekend: does he play the players like, or does he drop the players like Nick said and rest them? You just want to have a little bit of form going into this game, don't you?
It's tough. Okay, let's start with you then, Chris.
Yeah.
A prediction: Al Sadd versus Al Kharatiat.
Depending on what side Al Sadd puts out, I'll still go for a 2-0 win for Al Sadd.
Okay. Nick, your turn next. Al Sadd, Al Kharatiat.
I'll go for a 1-1.
1-1. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Next up, it's Al Duhail versus Al Salia. Okay, Al Duhail, let's just admire what we know we're going to see. Again, it's going to be goals, goals, goals. Again, they've done it every single week, Chris Macon.
They're just breaking all records this season, unbeaten still, scored something ridiculous like 80 goals, played less games than last season. The true test for Al Duhail, for me, will be obviously in the upcoming cup games, but in the Champions League, they've got to be tested there. They're at that level now. I would gauge their season, or at the start of next season, where they finish in the Champions League. Simple as that. They're that good.
I got to say something before we start talking about Al Salia, though, Nick. When you've got something in your mind here, look, they've gone unbeaten all season, right? They've had a tremendous time of it. Wouldn't it be awful if they were to slip up? I mean, if you go on form, you wouldn't expect it. And the likes of El Arabi, there's a little competition going on there as well.
Yes,
is it going to be El Arabi or Masakni who gets the golden boot, highest score in the league?
Listen, there's no chance they're going to take the foot off the gas, because that's what they're all about. That's what they've been like all throughout the season. When it's a bit tough at the start of the season, when you've got to motivate yourself, they've come through all that, and they're enjoying what they're doing. And you can't help but look and think, well, hang on a minute, they could win everything. They really could win everything. They're unbeaten in the Champions League. They are flying the flag. I know Garafa got knocked out the other day, but the other clubs are as well. But this is the side we're sending the best side now to the Champions League. And do I think someone's going to beat them? Al Salia are going to beat them? Not a chance at all.
Okay, quickly, who will get the golden boot then? Because we saw Masakni there and El Arabi both scoring there.
It might end, do you know what? Do you know what? They might end up there. Masakni pulls it back and it's level.
Really?
Have to share it.
Right. They're up against Al Salia. Now, Al Salia had a very disappointing season coming back after the winter break, really. So effective in that first part, Nick. Now, they've left it late. This was in week 21. This was more like it. Whatever had been happening behind the scenes had obviously been resolved. We saw the sort of side we saw in the first half of the season.
Yeah, they were a joy to watch for the first part of the season. Absolutely fantastic. Scoring goals, full of confidence. I think the problem's a little bit more than just playing football. I think it's more I don't want to go into it, but there was problems, and that's why it affected it on the pitch. But they're back now, and they want to finish the season off strong and hopefully have a good cut run. They would be, if they look at this season, they would be thinking to themselves, we had a chance really to get in that top four. We were quite a few points ahead of Salal. Garafa were not in contention, and they let it slip. So they'll always have that on the back of their mind. But we know on their day the quality they've got and the goals they've got in the side.
Would you be happy with that squad if you were in charge of Al Salia with the group that they've got there, Chris?
I think the players are happy with the squad that they have. I think the manager's happy, and I just think it was the off-the-field problems that contributed to their recent run.
Yeah,
do you know what I'd like to see as well? Sorry to interrupt. I'd like to see Trabelsi have a go at one of the top sides.
Well,
and I'm not trying to say go away.
Well, he's still got to finish this season in charge of Al Salia. Let's hear from the Al Salia head coach now, Sami Trabelsi.
About the season, for me, it's not good. I think if we are not in top 3, I don't consider that we are do a good season. We have a possibility this season to finish maybe 3rd, maybe more better than 6th, in the 6th position. I think football, it's not only player and coach. Sometimes there is some problems. It's not in your hand, how he said, Merghani. But the good thing that we have a good group. We can get new players for next season, and we'll be better.
Yeah, interesting indeed. He thinks he's good enough to finish, or his squad are good enough to finish in the top 3. That's where he was aiming.
Oh, definitely. And I'm saying, Nick said, we'd like to see Sammy at a bigger club. I think Sammy thinks himself he's at a big enough club to get in the top 4. You got to remember, you're up against Al Dahel and Al Sadd. Are you going to beat those two? No. Al Rayyan's standards have slipped a little bit this season. Maybe they could have got in 3rd place, but Al Salia are one of a host of clubs that can easily get in the top 4 every season, aren't they, from now on?
I just think he needs a little bit of backing. You know, just give him that little bit more. Then let him just bring a couple, so he can get a bit more of a squad. Well, mind you, there's enough goal scorers there.
Oh, absolutely. Wagner, Abdugolikov, on form, Lazar. When they're all on form, it's all working well. Right, he said, he used the term there, he had a little bit of translation help. He felt that it was out of his hands a lot of the time. Well, this game is in his hands. This is up to him and his squad. Al Dahel, Al Salia, how do they finish the season off, Nick?
No, he spoke. He said that he might be able. He doesn't think De Gea are going to walk straight through him. I disagree. I just think there's too much quality there. There's too much for him. 3-1.
3-1. Okay, Chris.
I'll go 3-2.
3-2. Al Dahel. Very interesting indeed. Moving on. It's next Al Rayyan versus Al Ahly. Right, before the international break, week 21, let's remind ourselves what Al Rayyan did. Of course, they haven't had much problems scoring goals this term, but 2-2, the draw with Salal. Remember, the importance of this game, of course, was for Salal, really, because they're chasing down that 4th spot. You can understand it there, but Al Rayyan, they got ahead. But like so many times, Chris, this season, they just petered out a little bit.
Just nearly there for Al Rayyan. Can they just overcome that mental edge, so to speak, to come into these cup games, the Qatar Cup and the EMEA Cup? Have they got enough to win a cup? I just get the feeling that they won't. They don't. I don't know.
Do you think they're nearly men all season, really?
Yeah, he's had that feeling all season, and it continues for me, even though they're doing well in the Champions League.
Your thoughts on?
I mean, the manager's played it down so much. He said, he said more or less he's ticked the box there. That's where we should finish there in that top 3, so they can play Champions League. I'm not having that, mate. There's a lot of players there what won the league a couple of seasons ago and seasons before that. They should have been up there. They should have been in the mix there with Al Sadd and De Gea. I really do think that. Whether they're going to win something, I'll probably think the same as what's your name again? Steve, I was going to call him then. Steve.
You haven't seen him for so long. You've got his name right. Let's
It's been
hear.
a long season.
We all remember the name of the Al Rayyan head coach, and that's Michael Laudrup. Let's hear from him.
We have achieved what you can call the target before the season in the league, at minimum number 3. So again, we could participate next season in Champions League. We have to admit, both us, the other team, Garafa, Al Sadd, that this season, unfortunately, Duhail has been too strong for all of us, and just have to congratulate them with the league title. To play 21 games, not losing one, is very, very good.
Let's not forget, of course, that Michael Laudrup won the title with, well, I say Al Duhail, they were known as La Chuya then, but he knows what it's all about. Yes, Nick?
So here's one for you then. They go on and win the Champions League. What does that mean with how they finished off in the league? Does that mean they've underachieved? That tells you straight away.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It really does that. You know, I just think when you're talking, we're trying to get it out of him all throughout the year. Are you in the mix? He's always played it down. You know,
Yeah.
we want to be just behind De Gea. Well, you are just behind De Gea now. You're 17, 18 points behind De Gea.
They're up against Al Ahly, who've made a last end-of-season change of head coach.
Yeah.
Jorge Perez del Campo, he's gone. Caparros, of course, was the former coach before that, from Spain as well. Now they've gone with a local head coach. Yusuf Ahmed, difficult time for him to come in. I don't know what the plan is. Oh, he's got the Emir Cup, of course.
I feel Al Ahly have just underachieved this season. It's fair to say. I thought Caparros had just got it right before going into the mid-season break. Obviously, he left the club. A new coach comes in, and it's just not quite happened. You look at the strike force: Muntari, Michal, Chikawi. You're thinking there's goals there, bit of creativity there, good attacking lineup, and even that's not worked out. I think you just slightly underachieved this year.
Al Rayyan versus Al Ahly then in this final weekend.
2-1 Al Rayyan.
Right, that's from you, Chris. Nick?
2-1 Al Ahly.
2-1 Al Ahly. It's not too crazy, that one. Right, OK, let's move on. Al Khor versus Al Arabi. Oh, Al Khor like leaving it late, don't they? They've done it so many times. They did it again, week 21. Chris, this was it. This goal saved them pretty much.
What a goal. It was in the top 3, was it? Number 2 in the top 3 goals that week. Unbelievable. Salem just drifting inside there into the top corner. Fabulous goal. It was enough to beat Al Sadd on the night. Disappointing result from Al Sadd's point of view, but great from Al Khor. And very much like Al Karatia, they seem to do it every single season, don't they? They manage to stay in our league. Just when you're wondering, are they going to drop out finally? No, they're going to get a result from
it's quite interesting because it could be quite an entertaining game, this one. Nothing really up for grabs, but they're up against Al Arabi. Let's just, remind ourselves of the goals they scored in this fantastic 3-win against Al Gharafa. And this was a culmination of weeks of sort of momentum growing. And Luka Benasic just seems to have got it bang on finally, Nick.
Well, what we've heard ever since we've been here is that Al Arabi is a huge club. And we've not really seen it, really. And I tell you something, we have after this season, because when things weren't going well for them, they wanted the crowd to get there. The crowd came there, and all of a sudden, this manager and this group of players turned it round. And there's a belief there now.
He started scoring.
Yeah, he started scoring. He couldn't hit a barn door at a certain point. He was really struggling, but then all of a sudden, confidence in football, how it changes. And you know what? I keep going in and seeing the manager. Have you signed yet for next year? Have you? He's the man. Yeah. He is the man there. They were absolutely, and I was saying it's probably a good thing if they go down and come back like Al Rayyan. He's not. He's turned it around now. Get the guy signed there and let him do his business. And all of a sudden there's a togetherness there.
I think just a little smile from him this week. This is Luka Benasic.
This Al Arabi is not easy to manage because too much immersion have. When we lose the game, everything go to, bad atmosphere. When we start to win, win, then come positive atmosphere. But I like, because always is some challenge for us, What I say when I came here, we need the time. Slowly, and we started not well, but slowly, you know, we take the system, we find the player for the right position, and finally, last 4 or 5 games, we showed that we can play football.
Please stay there. And this is not just the club, it's also Luka Banasic. I mean, he's been to about 40 clubs. I mean, you've got to remember, it's not just about Al Arabi. It's like, please, persuade him, do something to keep him there.
I've got to disagree with that, I really do. I think they were dead and buried at one stage. He's gone into that club, he's going slowly. He went in there, dropped a load of players, brought a load of new players in, and they've started winning. They won the last 4 games. They've gone from being more or less relegated, when you asked me about 6 weeks ago, to actually looking forward to the EMEA Cup now.
Yeah, but what you expect there is all of a
Speed
sudden...
is all relative, though, isn't it?
But when he gets to the break and we're studying for, obviously, next season and getting everything so it's all prepared, all the way through...
Sorry?
It doesn't surprise you, does it? All of a sudden, you hear Al Arabi, we've got a new manager again. You go, please, not again, don't.
Right, for the last game of the season, he's still there. Right, we'll start with you, Chris, here. Al Khor versus Al Arabi.
1-0, the dream team.
1-0 to Al Arabi?
Yes.
Right, OK. Nick Summerby.
3-1 to the dream team. Who's the dream team?
Next up, it's Salal versus Al Markhia. Remember, Salal have got to win. They're going for that 4th spot. Let's go back to week 21. This is what they did. They got the draw, Chris, with Al Rayyan. It was an important draw for them. It got them that point. They're on level with Al Gharafa. They've got a not as good a goal difference, but they're in the right position.
It's just finally poised, this game between Salal and Al Markhia and Al Gharafa. Got the better goal difference. If they win, they go through to the Qatar Cup. They've got the harder game. They're up against Qatar Sports Club. Salal were the easier of the game, both games. But I mean, if they win their game, they're waiting on the Al Gharafa result, then, aren't they?
I'll tell you one of the big points what Chris said the other week. Mawas only got 2 goals.
Right, now, Mawas only got 2 goals. I'm glad you've jumped in there, because I'm going to call up a graphic now from our friends at Stats. I'm going to call up Mahmoud Al-Mawas. Would you believe it?
Did you know you was doing that?
No, Chris, it's telepathic
no, but the
now.
reason you said, and what you said is absolutely quite right. The goals, 2, right? We see them here. As the top creator, I had a bit of a shock here. He's the 4th all season. He's 4th in the table. He's ahead of Xavi. There are 3 players ahead of him, and they're all Al Duhail players. Masakni, Ismail, and Moez. And then we have him. And, you know, it's one of those seasons we've not really talked about it, we've not really seen him, and I saw this, and I thought, hang on a minute. And yes, the goal count is bad, but he's been, you know, he's been busy as a player.
He's a Syrian international, so correct. I expect this type of numbers. Where are we now? This one. You know, for me, he's got to be in double figures.
Well, do you know what you do with that? Just work on that.
Yeah.
Getting 44 shots in there, you've got to work on that. We know the quality of what he's got.
Target, how many...
That's, you know, you just got to get more goals, really. You know, if you're an international, that's what you've got to do.
Well,
what is it Sagbo's got? Well, I mean,
normally, Salal, they play with 3 front players, and he'll play on either side, won't they? Yeah. He's obviously, for me, when the ball's on the opposite side and the cross is going in, he's not getting in the box enough for me. He's staying out wide, and if you're going to play with a 3, when the ball's on one side, the opposite player's got to get in the box. That's where the goals are.
Once again, what about if they lose Sagbo? Who's going to replace him? Surely that's something what they've got to be looking at as well. What does Sagbo get? Is he 12, 13 goals, something like that? Probably more from him as well.
All right, let's hear from their head coach, Salal's head coach, Talal El-Karkouri.
Yeah, I said that we draw against Rayyan, and we didn't expect Al Gharafa to lose with that kind of score. They concede 3 goals, so anything could happen in the league. I mentioned before that in the league, the big club, they can lose against the small teams. So and the small teams, they can win against the big teams. Anything can happen during this week.
Anything can happen. You're absolutely right, Talal. But what will happen? Do Salal get the victory and the pressure remains on Al Gharafa? Nick, you decide first.
Yes, I think they both do.
Who plays first?
They
play on the same day?
all the games have been played at the same time. We are actually going to be covering Al Gharafa Qatar.
Isn't it over two days this weekend?
Yeah, but those two matches are the same day.
Oh, right,
They're both
okay,
on
right.
Sunday.
Oh, right, brilliant.
There's only 2 matches on Saturday. We've already talked about them. So
Right.
this is Salal Al Markhia. We'll get to Gharafa in a minute.
Yeah,
Salal Al Markhia.
Salal will win this 2-0. And I think Gharafa will win as well.
Okay, hang on a minute.
I just thought I'd say it.
We're getting to them now. Right.
Yeah, Salal. Yeah, 2-0.
Okay, thank you. Now, Al Gharafa versus Qatar Sports Club. Nick's already said they're going to win. Let's have a look what happened in week 21, because it didn't go their way, did it? This was the one goal. It was a chink of light, really, Nick, in what was a drubbing by Al Arabi.
It was, yeah, but they had a lot. They had important games coming up as well with the Champions League. They have done well since Sneijder's been there. You've seen an improvement, but I think the club has got to show something for that, you know. And hopefully they've got to get in this top four. If not, they've got to do well in the Emir Cup. It just came against a difficult side, against Al Arabi. But we've got a good point in a minute about our man Aladdin, what me and Chris have been talking about this week. So
right.
when you're ready, just throw it in.
Before we talk about him, let's hear from another one of the players who's remaining completely focused on the job at hand, and that is Madibo.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to finish the season without nothing. Our goal now to be the top four, to play the Qatar Cup, and next year for the qualification for the Champions League. So it's a big goal for us, and I think if we finish top four, we will be satisfied about this, and everybody will be happy.
I should think so, satisfied, because they were down there in 7th, really, weren't they? Then 6th, and, you know, really since...
After the mid-season break.
After the mid-season break, and after the arrival of... Let's bring our friend up here, Wesley Sneijder. Despite that defeat in week 21, and the reason I wanted to bring this up from stats was, and you'll see them highlighted there, Wesley Sneijder had 25 final third entries and 19 successful final third entries, both the highest total in the QSL in week 21. Sneijder also had 30 penalty area entries in week 21, the highest total in a single game in the QSL this season. I know there's a lot of writing there. Stay with it. Stay with me here on this, because I think what I'm doing is highlighting what you, Nick and Chris, have been talking about since his arrival. This is a man who maybe in his autumn years is giving it 100% every single game. And if others continue to feed off that, there's only one way that Al Gharafa are going to go, Chris.
He's the catalyst alongside the manager as well, who's come and done a wonderful job. They go into this game, I think Kassim was sent off in the previous game, so I presume the youngster Yusuf will come in. Central defender is missing, so they're missing a few important players, but with that man in your team, they're always capable of scoring goals, aren't they?
So, and tell me about Aladdin now. What have you and Chris been chatting about? What's going on here?
No, we're going to go about the game in the midweek. I mean, listen, we like Aladdin. He's a fantastic finisher of the ball, but his movement we've always spoke about. Now we're going to speak about Ronaldo in the midweek against Juventus. Now you only learn from the best. Watch his movement for the first goal. Watch his movement, the way he waits, the way he sees it going on the left-hand side, and he's explosive and just gets across and puts it in the back of the net. That's what we're talking about. Learn little situations like that, you know, because he's a very good finisher. When he gets there, Chris, he's easy. He puts it away, no problem. But some little bits and bobs like that I'd just be looking at.
All right, Al Gharafa, they're up against Qatar Sports Club. Let's hear now from one of Qatar Sports Club players, and that's Omar.
Going after the first 10 games we played, I think it's acceptable, the position we're in, especially because the team came from the second division last season, and our main goal was to stay in the first division this season. Looking back at it, I wish we had the same team we had for the last 10 games, because we've improved a lot. I think we would have been probably in the top 6 if we had the same team from the beginning of the season. So obviously a little disappointed, but hopefully we can build on this momentum we have and do something in the Emir Cup.
That sort of suggests, you know, they're not going to make this easy at all for Al Gharafa. You know, Al Gharafa have got this 4th spot in their sights. They're fighting Salal. Qatar Sports Club have made a huge improvement this season. And he's talking there already about the Emir Cup. Momentum. Come on, let's keep it going now.
Yeah, he's turned it around and fantastic. We like the manager. You know, he's... do you know what? He's got like a Belmadi type of thing. He knows all about it. He used to be at Laquia. his knowledge of the game, knowledge of the local players here as well. You can see straight away he's got the respect of the players, and they're starting to build up now to the Emir Cup. They could be a surprise in it, but I was just saying then, Chris, every time there's certain times when you're in a dressing room and you look at certain players and you go, he's going to be a manager, him. Well, that Omar's got that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He just got the manager, hasn't he, straight away? He's going to be a manager.
I think at the age of 24, I think he wants a few more years.
He's a talker, isn't he? And he gets into depth with it and feels he's passionate about it.
Yeah, and you sort of, I mean, us as just spectators and analysts, we feed off him. Goodness knows what the players do. Right, OK, Nick, I'll start with you. Al Gharafa versus Qatar Sports Club.
A good game of football as well. I'll go for a 3-2 to Gharafa. OK,
Chris?
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Never happened that in 7 years. By the way, is the trophy coming out shortly? Who's won these with the scores?
With the scores, we'll top them up.
That's a long score, isn't it?
It's one of them. You won. Chris won 2-1.
All right, let's head over once again to Shadan Wadan to remind us of how they line up for Week 22 and the current league standings going in to this final weekend.
Thanks, Rodri. Going into the final week, El Dihel are already champions, El Said will finish second, and Al Rayyan will finish third. The only question mark is who will make up the top four, with Al Gharafa and Slal neck and neck on 32 points, with all to play for in the final match. Nothing drastic can happen in the bottom half, with El Markhia already down and Al Khretiyat destined for a playoff match against Al Wakra on the 14th of April. As for the fixtures, on Saturday the 7th of April, Al Said face Al Khretiyat at 18:15, the same time Al Dihel face Al Saliya. On Sunday the 8th of April, Al Rayyan meet Al Ahli, Al Khor meet Al Arabi, Slal meets Al Markhia, and Al Gharafa meet Qatar Sports Club, all at 18:15 Doha time.
So we're all set for the final weekend of the QNB Stars League season 2017-2018. From Nick Summery, Chris Bacon and myself. Bye for now.